All right, get ready to dive into something kind of strange, maybe even a little out there.
Yeah.
We're tackling the question, can long hair actually make you smarter?
Seriously, that's what one of our listeners asked.
Right. Blew my mind when I saw it too. But we got a ton of sources, like everything from old stories and beliefs to some wild quantum physics stuff. So we're going to try to figure this out.
You know, it is kind of funny how this idea of long hair equals wisdom or like special powers keeps popping up throughout history.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like Samson, his strength was all in his hair,
Right.
right? Or think about those stories about Native American scouts. You always hear about their long hair helping them be super aware of their environment.
Yeah, and don't forget, like yogis and stuff, they talk about long hair as some kind of energy storehouse too.
It's true. Makes you wonder if there's actually something to it beyond just looking cool,
I
right?
know.
I mean, could hair length really affect things like how well you sense stuff around you? Especially when you consider how many cultures believed in this stuff.
It's kind of hard to ignore, right?
For sure. And then you get into some, well, let's call them creative theories, connecting long hair to energy fields and even getting into quantum stuff.
Quantum stuff. Okay, hold up. You got to explain that one to me. Like we're talking tiny particles and stuff, right? How does that even relate to hair?
Well, the idea is that longer hair could act like an antenna for your biofield. You know, that electromagnetic field around your body. Some people even think it could tap into things like quantum entanglement.
Quantum entanglement,
Ah.
the spooky action at a distance thing.
Exactly, where particles are linked, even when they're far apart.
Okay, I'm picturing this like longer strands somehow connect you to, well, everything.
That's kind of the idea. Supposedly, it could boost your intuition or perception, make you more sensitive, but gotta be clear, there's zero scientific proof for any of this.
So maybe don't run out and get a psychic reading just because you're growing your hair out.
Right. Fascinating to think about, but yeah, pure speculation.
Totally. But let's put the quantum stuff aside for a sec. I need a more real way that hair interacts with the world. Like it's actually a sensory organ.
Oh, absolutely. We forget that all the time. Those hair follicles, they're connected to nerves.
So it's not just like dead stuff growing out of our heads.
Not at all. It can sense pressure, temperature, even a tiny breeze. Imagine having way more of those sensory receptors because of longer hair. Could it be that it kind of boosts your awareness of what's going on around you?
Like a cat's whiskers, but for humans.
Perfect analogy. So think back to when you had longer hair.
Okay.
Did you ever notice feeling a bit more tuned into your surroundings? Like maybe you were more aware of the wind or a change in the temperature?
You know what? I think maybe I did. It's like being a little extra sensitive to everything.
Right. But our listener also mentioned something about hair's twisting structure, how it might tie into all this energy talk.
Oh, yeah. Like the shape of the hair itself could affect its electromagnetic properties or whatever.
Exactly. And they even went as far as suggesting that ball-shaped hair might be the most efficient structure.
Hold on. Does that mean we should all be rocking giant afros to, like, boost our brain power? I'm picturing everyone walking around look like Einstein, but with even bigger hair, you know?
Well, that's a funny image. While a giant afro might not unlock hidden genius, there is something about efficient shapes in nature, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Think about it. You see spirals and spheres all over the place. Galaxies, seashells, even our own DNA. Maybe there's a reason those shapes show up so much when it comes to energy.
Okay, that makes sense.
Uh.
But wait, hair is made of keratin, isn't it?
Uh.
And isn't keratin?
A protein, yeah. Doesn't exactly conduct electricity very well.
Ah, right. There's the catch.
Yeah. So even though hair has that cool twisting structure, it's not going to be a super highway for electromagnetic energy.
So we can probably rule out hair being some kind of, like, superconductor that boosts your brain power.
It seems that way. But you know, this brings up something we haven't really talked about yet. The psychological side of all this.
Oh, right, right. Like, how we feel about ourselves can affect how we think.
Precisely. And this is where it gets interesting. Let's say someone feels more creative, confident, or just more themselves with long hair. Is it possible that feeling translates into better mental clarity, better focus?
It's not that the hair is magical, it's the feeling it gives you.
Exactly. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe it makes you sharper, maybe you actually perform better.
Makes total sense. Like, when I get a new haircut that I love, I feel like I can take on anything. Is there any, like, actual proof that this happens with long hair, or is it just a nice idea?
That's a great question. We might not have hard data on people's brainwaves with different hairstyles, but think about those cultural beliefs we talked about earlier. What if a society connects long hair with wisdom or leadership for centuries? Those associations, passed down over and over, they can become part of your identity. And that can have a real impact.
Whoa, yeah. So we've got these far-out quantum theories, the sensory awareness thing, electromagnetic properties, and now psychology, too. So much to think about. If someone's listening and wondering if their long hair is, like, giving them a mental edge, what's the bottom line here?
Well, long hair magically boosting your IQ, probably not going to happen. No real evidence to say it unlocks some secret brain power.
But you're saying it could play a role in other ways, just not directly making you smarter.
Right. It's not like growing your hair out suddenly turns you into Einstein or something.
Okay, good to know. I was kind of worried there for a minute.
But yeah, we found some pretty interesting possibilities for how long hair could affect things like awareness, confidence, even how you see the world.
So, like, indirectly.
Exactly. Not a direct boost to your brain power, but more about how it changes your experience.
Okay, let's break those down a bit.
Sure. So first, remember all those extra hair follicles, that extra sensory input. It could make you more aware of what's happening around you.
Ah, right. Makes sense.
Maybe it's subtle, but it's still interesting to think about. Like maybe you're less likely to trip over something or bump into things.
Uh-huh, yeah. Or maybe I'll finally be able to catch my cat before he steals my dinner.
Exactly. And then there's the whole psychological thing. I think that's a big part of this.
Yeah, if you feel more confident or creative with long hair,
Yeah.
I could see how that would affect you.
If you feel good, you might think more clearly, be more focused.
So it's not the hair itself, it's how the hair makes you feel.
Exactly. Kind of like if you believe it makes you sharper, maybe you actually perform better.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
I like that.
And don't forget about all those cultural beliefs. You know, the ones we talked about before.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Long hair and wisdom, leadership, all that.
Right. What if that stuff has been ingrained in a culture for centuries?
It becomes part of who you are.
It could, yeah. And those kind of deep-seated beliefs, they can definitely affect how you think and act.
Makes you wonder, though. Yeah. What if we flip the question? Instead of asking if long hair makes you smarter, what if it's the other way around?
Oh, you mean like, what if smarter people are just more likely to have long hair?
Yeah.
Now, that is a thought-provoking idea. It makes you question everything, doesn't it?
For sure.
Like, what if people who love to learn, you know, the folks who are really into intellectual stuff,
Yeah.
what if they're also the people who are more patient, more dedicated, the kind of folks who would actually take the time to grow out their hair?
Interesting.
Because growing long hair takes time.
Right.
It takes commitment.
So maybe it's not that long hair causes intelligence. It's just that certain types of people are more likely to end up with both.
That's a possibility for sure.
So correlation, not causation.
Right. Could be certain personality traits or lifestyle choices that are linked to both, you know, intelligence and a preference for long hair.
Makes sense. But I guess we'd need a ton more research to really figure that out, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Mountains of research.
But still, it's a cool thing to think about. It shows how complicated this whole hair thing really is.
Totally. And that's what makes these deep dives so fun, you know? We start with a simple question about hair, and suddenly we're talking about, like, the nature of intelligence itself.
Yeah, and how it's connected to culture, to who we are as people.
Yeah.
Wild.
Exactly. One question can lead us down so many different paths. And along the way, we uncover these connections we never even thought about before.
It's true. It also makes me realize how much we judge based on how people look. Like we see long hair and we make all these assumptions. But what if there's a whole lot more to the story?
That's such an important point. We like to put things in boxes, you know? Physical stuff over here, mental stuff over there. But what if it's all way more connected than we think?
Makes you wonder how many other assumptions we just, like, take for granted.
Yeah.
If something as simple as hair length can get us thinking about all this stuff, what else are we missing, you know?
Right. I mean, we know our thoughts and feelings can actually, like, show up physically. Like, stress can make your hair fall out.
Oh, yeah, and they say being happy can make you glow. So if our insides affect our outsides, could it work the other way around, too?
Could be. It's a cool idea to think about. Maybe those physical traits, even something like hair length, maybe they affect our mental state, or at least how people see us. This whole conversation has been like opening a can of worms, huh?
Totally. I think that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating. We started with hair and intelligence, and now we're talking about, like, the connection between mind and body. and cultural beliefs, scientific theories. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's what we try to do here, Spark some curiosity, get people thinking outside the box.
Challenge those assumptions.
Exactly. And hopefully our listeners will keep exploring these ideas long after the episode's over.
So to our listener who sent in this question, thank you. Seriously, this has been a wild ride.
It really has. And to everyone listening, we want to leave you with one last thought. If long hair can get us debating this much, and really questioning things, what other seemingly small physical traits might be having a bigger impact than we realize? Like, what about the clothes we wear? Do they affect our confidence?
Oh, good.
Or our posture? Could that, influence our decisions?
Our possibilities are endless. Keep those brains buzzing and those deep dives going, everybody. And tell us what you think. Head over to our social media and share your experiences. Until next time.